to our SOLIDWORKS electrical getting started video. In this video, I will cover the following topics: starting your first project, adding components, creating 2D panel layouts, and using the bill of materials function. To start with, SOLIDWORKS electrical is already open, and you can see that the project manager is also open. If there was something I was working on recently, it would show up in this list. I'm going to create a brand new project just by selecting new, and you can see it asks me for a project template to use. You can see here that there are several standard templates. ANSI and IEC are two prime examples. There's also an empty project that you can create from scratch, customizing it to your liking, and you can also modify any of these templates to create your own custom template. Let's start with the ANSI template. As soon as I select my template, it asks me for a project language. You can specify English or whichever language you're most comfortable with, and also you can specify a secondary language. As soon as I do that, the project information shows up and I can fill out whatever information is pertinent to this particular project. As you can see, there are many fields to fill in. As soon as that's done, SOLIDWORKS Electrical will create my project. Once the project's created, you can see that there's a document book for organizing documents, as well as some standard documents that are already created with the template. We have the cover page that shows the title of the project as well as a description. It also represents the information that I filled out when I created the project, and we have access to a revision block. We have the drawing list, which is a table of contents showing me all the drawings that I have generated here. And then we have a few different types of schematics that we can use within SOLIDWORKS Electrical: line diagram and a schematic. I can create a brand new schematic very easily by right-clicking on the document book, and I'm going to choose a mixed scheme, which is a combination between a line diagram and a schematic. I can also give this a description, and I will call that layout. Once that new document is created, if I go back to the drawing list and update it, you see that my new document is added to the table of contents. Let's switch over to the line diagram, which will give us an overview of the project. I'm going to insert a symbol here. You can see the last symbol I've used shows up in this block, but I can also go through and search the different classifications to find the correct symbol. Let's start with this terminal strip and just place it down. As soon as I do that, you see I get a lot of information here that I can customize. Put in a couple more symbols. You can see as I'm adding these symbols, it's automatically giving them a unique mark. I can also assign manufacturer parts to these symbols. You can see I can search an extensive database for manufacturing parts. It will automatically default to the classification of manufacturing parts, and we can use these various filters to search the database. Once that manufacturer part has been added to the symbol, you can see that the manufacturing information shows up on the symbol. Next, we can show how these components are connected. I'll draw a cable in between them. So both of my components are going to the X1 terminal strip. And these cables represent real cables, and I can add those in by defining a manufacturer part. I'll select Add Cable. Again, this brings up the search dialog where I have various ways to search for a new cable. In this case, I'm going to search by conductor number and make sure I pick up one with 3 conductors to match my circuit breaker. Once the manufacturer part information has been added to the cable, it will display on the cable. I've switched over to an electrical schematic where you can see I have an existing electrical circuit, which I can easily duplicate by selecting all of it and using the multiple copy command. As you see, I can paste several circuits and SOLIDWORKS will automatically give them all unique marks, as well as transferring the manufacturer part data over to the new components. I also have the option to create a macro. This can be done at the circuit level or at the project level using one sheet of a schematic or several sheets. And this allows me to reuse this circuit not only in this project, but in other projects. Again, SOLIDWORKS Electrical has automatically renumbered all of the new components and transferred all the information over for me. Of course, if the numbering is out of sequence, you have an option to renumber things as needed. Next, let's create a 2D panel layout. Once the panel layout has been generated, you see that the menu has changed to reflect all the tools we need for doing a 2D panel layout. And the first thing I'm going to do is add in a cabinet. Just like before, we can search our SQL database for an appropriate cabinet. Using whatever criteria you have to identify the cabinet. If you need to change the scale, you can do so that you're getting the appropriate sizing on your cabinet. I've added some rails to this cabinet, and you can see over here on the left I have a list of components that are ready to insert into my panel layout. I can do these one at a time, or if 2 things are going on the same rail, for example these 2 circuit breakers, I can insert them both at the same time, given the right order and an appropriate spacing. This gives me a good idea on how my cabinet is going to be laid out. We can also insert a terminal strip very easily. Once that's done, let's go to the Project tab and look at our reports. There's already 4 reports added to my project automatically. Bill of materials, list of wires by wire style, list of cables grouped by reference. You can see I get a preview of the bill of materials, including the reference, part number, the mark, description if it exists, a quantity, and a manufacturer. Of course, I can export these to Excel, text, XML, or generate the drawing inside my document list, which can be printed out or exported to a PDF. The bill of material includes all the relevant information, including the manufacturer part, marks, and quantities, which is all highly customizable based on your needs. That's it for this getting started video. Thank you for watching, and get started with your own electrical projects.